Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things today. I actually wanted to talk about two teasers that came out for two specific characters. I was going to do one just on this one character named Sylvie, but we actually got another one today that came out about a new character named Falou. So I actually want to talk about both characters here because it seems like the characters that they're introducing here are actually going to be somewhat, I guess, main characters, or at least, well, no, I think they should be actually just like main characters in this first season. It's actually kind of crazy because honestly, the characters that they're introducing, and the same thing goes with Dead City, like a lot of those characters really felt like, I want to say mainstay characters. Like I really felt like they were characters that were going to be around for a while, but almost everyone on Dead City died. Obviously, we still have the Marshal and the Croat, and I guess Jenny as well, but everyone else just kind of died. You know, that whole group that we thought, you know, could be a part of Maggie and Negan's adventures and all of that, they're entirely gone now. So I guess now they're just mostly gonna, I mean, I kind of like where they went story-wise, to be honest. I actually kind of like that because the one concern I did have about Dead City, I will say, is I was kind of concerned that Maggie and Negan would just like stay in New York the entire time, and like that's what the story was just going to be, was like them going to New York City and they're just there the entire time. But it's kind of nice to have Maggie go back to the bricks, because it really does just feel a little bit bigger. The world feels just that much more expansive, right? Like, I'm a huge fan of that. And I think for Daryl Dixon, they'll probably do the same here. But yeah, let's talk about this stuff here. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. The show is returning in 22 days or in 19 days if you're going to be watching it on AMC+. So yeah, I'm definitely very excited for Daryl Dixon. Definitely make sure to be a subscriber to the podcast if you haven't already. The episode 7 will be dropping on Monday, which is in 2 days from now. Today, we're actually recording episode 8. We just hit 100 subs, which is absolutely just amazing. It's really cool just starting something brand new and fresh and just kind of growing it, and just like you celebrate all the little victories, right? So yeah, hitting 100 subs, amazing. I guess our next goal now is 1,000 subs, right? So thank you guys so much for all the support, and yeah, the next episode will be out on Monday. But let's get into what I wanted to talk about here. So I wanted to talk about Falou. So Falou, we'll start with him. So he's described as an artist. I believe that he is mainly an artist. The actor describes him as, you know, he's an artist, but he's a bit of a warrior as well. And he's the leader of this community. And it seems like they're allies with the Abbey, which is the place that is run by all the nuns. So it looks like there is sort of this underground, like, rising sort of thing that's happening, right, with all these different communities, and they're fighting back, I guess, against the forces that are, I mean, obviously Codrin and whoever his boss is, right? Like, I'm not entirely sure of the overall sort of thing here, and that's the one thing that I'm so excited about for the show, is I want to know who is running this place, because there's like, everyone is sort of just like fighting back against whoever this is, right? And so I'm just really interested in why and what exactly do they stand for that everyone is having issues with. Like, I know there is sort of the Cure storyline, and there's some of that, obviously, but there's got to be some other issues that obviously that some people are, you know, having big issues with, and they don't like how, I guess, I don't know if you can call it the government. Like, I don't know if it's like the leaders of whatever this community is. Like, I don't know if they're the ones that are sort of causing a bunch of issues here. And then so you have a lot of these smaller groups sort of fighting back against that, right? And so I do wonder if there's more to it than just some of the Cure stuff, because the Cure stuff obviously is a thing, because I do think, obviously, you know, in terms of the military and whatever's involvement in some of the, well, it seems like experiments anyways, and what was happening there with the burners and stuff, I do think that there's probably a lot more there, and I'm just so fascinated in that. I really want to know how a lot of this plays a role in just in the story, because it could have pretty big implications for the overall Walking Dead universe, right? And Falou, I think, is actually going to be a really great character. I'm so excited to meet him. I mean, just based off of the footage that I saw, this place honestly looks really cool, and I do think that this place is going to be a pretty big part of at least an episode or two for sure. Like, this kind of reminds me of like an episode 2 or 3 thing where they do run into this group here, and I'm guessing it's going to be one of those things where they're on their journey and they're like, well, we need to get this, and someone's like, well, I know this place here, and then so they go to this place, and then they meet Falou, and then they'll probably run to a bunch of other people. I don't know why, but I just get this feeling that they're going to be there, and, you know, they'll spend the night there kind of thing, and then they'll be attacked by whatever group with Codrin and stuff, and then a lot of people are going to die there. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. But another character that I do want to talk about goes by the name of Sylvie, and she is actually going to be for sure a part of the main cast here. So she's at the Abbey with Isabel and Laurent, obviously, and she's a nun as well, and she's super nice, and she's actually described as a sort of a bigger sister to Laurent in that sense. So it's kind of cool. Like there is actually a different dynamic here that we're learning, right? So I really do like that, because now it's sort of showing us that the characters, you know, at least at the Abbey, they do sort of have somewhat of a relationship, because that's kind of the thing that I was always wondering about. Like, yes, we have Daryl meeting all these characters, but what about Isabel and Sylvie? Like, do they know each other really well? You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how they interact, as opposed to like Daryl interacting with them individually, right? Because I want to know their backstory a little bit more, and like, yeah, just the smaller details there. But yeah, Sylvie looks like a great character. I'm definitely very excited here. We do have a lot of shots here. Like I talked about this one shot the other day, or at least I've mentioned it. But yeah, they're like in a carriage, and they're being pulled by a horse. We've seen a lot of this stuff early on, like those in production teasers showed a lot of this stuff here. And so I think this for sure is episode 2. Like I'm so confident that this right here is from episode 2, because I think episode 1 is going to be a lot of the introduction stuff, meeting the group and all that, setting up your characters, setting up the world. And really at the end of it, I feel like they'll be sort of ready to venture out, something like that. But episode 2, I think they will be out on their own and sort of traveling. And again, we have Laurent here, and he actually has sort of an attitude here. You know, he really, it does feel like there's more of a sibling rivalry here, at least in a way. He's a little annoyed that Sylvie is just constantly on him, kind of thing. And, you know, obviously she's just looking out for him, but, you know, for him, he doesn't see it at this age. And yeah, it's kind of cool to see that. And then we have Isabel and Sylvie here. And for some reason, I feel like they're looking at Caudron, because I know that there's a shot of Isabel and Sylvie together, and the lighting is a lot like this, and Caudron is nearby. So I wonder if they're about to run into them at this point here. We then see Sylvie here, and she has a gun, and I do think she does have some skills to be able to fight back and whatnot. Like she seems to have a hard time with this weapon here. Like she's holding it to this walker, and she seems to be a little scared to pull the trigger. But I do believe she does. I mean, that's the one thing too you got to wonder, like with the nuns and stuff, right? Like how much exposure have they had to the rest of the world? Like that's one of those things when you look at World Beyond. A lot of those characters, when they got out in the real world, I mean, I think first of all, those characters in World Beyond, they were way too skilled, way too fast, right? Like they went out in the real world and they were able to kill walkers like nothing. Our Walking Dead characters, the original characters in the very beginning, they all struggled with it, right? So we should have had a little bit more of that. So I think if this is Sylvie's first time killing a walker or something like that, it's kind of cool to see the struggle, right? Because that's growth. Like she's eventually going to get to the point where it's like nothing for her, right? So, but then we have some shots here from the newest teaser with Falou, and yeah, a lot of this stuff is just really incredibly, honestly, really cool, because they're like in a subway, and this one shot I'll probably have to use for the thumbnail just because this is entirely new. This is like, whatever this place is actually pretty massive. I thought that it was just like, honestly, I think I talked about some shots here as this place was like sort of an agricultural like place where they just focused literally on food and vegetation and stuff like that. But I was so wrong. Like there's a lot going on here. This is an actual like full-on community. I don't know why, but this one shot here, I mean, they're cooking food and stuff like that outside. They have like the ovens and stuff, but for some reason this really reminds me of Terminus. I don't know why. I just immediately got those vibes, and I guess it's because they were cooking a lot of their meat and stuff outside on those like stoves and stuff, and they had all that stuff set up outside. I just got those vibes right away, but obviously I'm at least I'm praying these people aren't cannibals. But no, obviously they're not. They're definitely not. So yeah, I'm so excited for this. I think that honestly, like looking at all of this here and judging based off of how they did Dead City and the flow and sort of, you know what I mean, of the story, I can see how these 6 episodes of Daryl Dixon are all going to be probably very solid and be very like entertaining. Because the thing about Dead City is, I mean, there was 1 or 2 episodes that more focus on character stuff. Episode 3 was my favorite, and you could argue that was the slowest one, but it's because they focused on a lot of character stuff, and I really liked the vibe of that, especially the song at the end. Just felt like classic Walking Dead, as I said. And yeah, I think Daryl Dixon's going to be a very phenomenal show, honestly, just based off of all the promotion stuff for it. I do think they have a lot of confidence in it, and I have this feeling that the show is going to be even better than Dead City, which is kind of, I don't know, it's a crazy thing to say. Actually, if anything, I'm more saying that, to be honest, just because of the overall tones and stuff like that. This show just feels very interesting. Like, I sort of described Dead City as more of like a slasher type of horror movie, and Daryl Dixon kind of feels like almost like a ghost haunting type of horror movie, right? Obviously it's not, there's going to be no ghosts or anything like that, but it's just sort of the vibe that I get. Like Daryl Dixon is more of like The Conjuring and Exorcist and stuff like that, whereas Dead City is just like, you know, Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street kind of thing, right? Halloween. So that's kind of the vibes I'm getting from both. And I just, yeah, again, I'm really, really excited for Daryl Dixon. So definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, and I will likely be streaming later on today some Phasmophobia because I really want to upgrade and start to get a lot more weapons and all that. I just had no time to play recently, but I want to put in a few hours and stuff tonight, so definitely go follow my Twitch channel. It's Appetite for the Dead, and yeah, I'll see you guys there later on tonight.